It is our honour, it is our pleasure to have with us tonight Mr. Trevor Abrahmsohn, Chairman, the founder of an organisation, of a company that many of you have seen over the years, Dentistry International, Dentistry States, Dentistry International. But tonight you will hear the story behind Dentistry States. You will hear the story behind Trevor.
I want to talk about success, because everyone deems success as being the measure of what you do in life. And I'm going to try and define it, but if anyone has got any contribution to make, on another category or one of them, tell me about it, because it's important. We want to know what motivates people, what gets people out of bed, and how you measure a life. I would say that, of course, money is very important. Money buys you freedom. Health. Without health, what have you got? Happiness, inner contentment, that's all important, part of success, both for you and the family. Loving what you do is a very important part of success. Gaining recognition, fame and glory. And Lord knows I've had probably more than my fair share of glory. I would say not necessarily always earned, but nevertheless I'll take it. Coping with failure and tough times. That's real. That's part of life, and a very important part of life. Passion and commitment. I believe so much in passion and commitment. That's the turbocharge that gets you where you want to go and separates the wheat from the chaff, the men from the boys. Let me start by talking about money, if I may. Technically, it buys you freedom. But to me, money is, and to most people, it should be, it's as much a danger as a blessing. It's radioactive. To me, it's radioactive. And radioactivity can give you cancer, it can cure cancer. But people think that money buys you everything. If you've got a lot of it, you must be happy. I'm not so sure about that. I came from a modest background. My father was a dentist. We was in South Africa. And I didn't mix with money people necessarily, so there was no leg up for me in life. I was bathed with emotional security and love, I'm delighted to say. But I was a typical middle-class background. I studied dentistry, even though my family were medically trained. I had this calling to get out of academia. I wanted to get out to the big, bad world. I had this yearning and I couldn't get it out of my mind. And I just left. One day I just left and I was student representative of the year. I stayed there for 2 years. I never looked back. What's the biblical story of never looking back with the salt and everything? I never looked back. Come on, you still have the stories ready?
Oh, yeah.
But what I didn't realise, I opened the door to life. But when you're in a vocational track, all you can see is the bottom of the sheep in front of you. That's all you can see. You can't see left, you can't see right. And when the pen opens, it's like a prisoner who gets out of the open world. He can do everything, nothing at the same time. It's a frightening prospect. Added to which, it was 1974, and you ask any economist, 1974 is the worst November, is the worst month of the worst year, the post-war year. It was terrible. It made today's recession look like a walk in the park. This was real recession. And it was like opening up a baker shop in Nagasaki in 1945. There's no business. So I started nevertheless, and within a few years, I should just say, when I left next door neighbour was an estate agent. So I didn't even know what estate agents were all about, and I just sort of fell into the business, and there wasn't any business to be had there. In fact, the manager left after 3 weeks. I was the manager. I didn't have a bloody clue. I used to pick up the phone, talk to people, and didn't know what to say to them. It was not a social chat. You know, there was no business to be had. Anyway, so I met up with a city veteran. People don't know him, but he was a man who's extremely well known in the city, 20 years older than me, and we started a business. Now, did we start in a Mayfair suite of offices with panelled boardrooms and secretaries, a myriad of secretaries? No. It was a tertiary residential hotel with a 7-day lease. And I drove around in my green Alfa Sud car with a mobile phone in the car, because I was a busker. I had to be everywhere. And we paid £2,500 for the car, £2,500 for the photocopier, and I was in business.